Hello, welcome to the Comic Book Club. I'm your host, Jamill Payne, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Amanda Comey. How are you today, Amanda?
Doing all right.
You sound like you just heard something incredibly depressing.
Well, really the most depressing thing, just aside from, everything, I'm trying to quit caffeine. So I'm drinking like the saddest cup of decaffeinated coffee right now.
How bad are the headaches?
So what happened was the day that I decided to start quitting, I slept in past the time when I normally would have had a cup of coffee, and I woke up and it was like a hangover, like killer headache, like nauseous, like I couldn't eat the whole day. And I was like, if there was a zombie apocalypse right now, I would be down already. I was like, I need to be ready in case of an emergency. Like, I can't be left behind just because I've got, like, a caffeine withdrawal headache,
Well, I do want to talk about, you speaking about being groggy from, like, caffeine headaches when you wake up. I know a couple of days ago, I woke up, and I looked at my phone and I had all these messages that said James Gunn was reinstated to Guardians of the Galaxy. But I would still have sleep, so I thought I was seeing shit, so I would just went back to sleep. Because I didn't believe it, and like I woke up again, still didn't believe it. Checked it like, oh, well, that's an interesting turn of events. Come to find out, James Gunn is back, baby.
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't actually read any of the articles, so I didn't see any explanation of like what their official rationale was. I don't know. Did they apologize or say they were wrong at any point?
Nope.
Okay.
He just reinstated. That's all that's being said. And it's funny too. The right wing trolls, unlike other people that's gotten in trouble over Twitter stuff. Actually, maybe it's all the same people. Like the right wing Twitter trolls went after him specifically because he was so strong against Trump. Well, those assholes felt so bad. Now he has a movie at Marvel and DC. So really, he won. Not only did he win, he came up.
Yeah.
So he will do both movies. He'll do Suicide Squad first and Guardians of the Galaxy second.
Okay. Well, I like when people, can admit they're wrong. It's my favorite line from the movie Dirty Dancing is at the end where the dad is like, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. But then he doesn't actually say he's wrong. That's just like all he says.
That's kind of what Disney did.
Yeah. But I like when adults can say, yeah, sorry, my bad.
So I have theories about this. I have a few theories about this.
Okay.
One is they fired him for real, right? Mm-hmm. But they always they was always planning on bringing him back when like the dust, when like it kind of blew over a little bit. Or two, they fired him for real, and were just waiting to see if any like allegations popped up.
Mm-hmm.
Cause we live in the age of allegations, and like I guess they was like, well, nothing popped up. It's been like 9 months. I guess he's not a pedophile, so I guess we bring him back in. I really do believe that's what it was. They was just like, somebody at that company was like, well, maybe he's a pedophile for real. Let's wait and see. But it's been 9 months. Nobody's came forward with anything. And so I guess they was just like, plus, I feel like with R. Kelly and Bryan Singer running around, I think it puts shit in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you got real, like, famous pedophiles just running around this place, all of a sudden a few jokes don't seem so bad.
Yeah, I think it might also have been that they weren't really that they hadn't really thought through how unique and how valuable James Gunn was.
Yeah.
And they may have been sitting there like, oh no, we can totally get like, what's Ron Howard doing now? I'm sure he could fix this. Like, I'm sure that they were thinking it would be easier to keep going without him than it really was. And that also was a strong motivation here. Like, you know, they maybe didn't say this publicly, but maybe, hopefully they said to him, you know, hey, we looked at what you did and actually we can't do it without you. Like, we don't understand how it works.
And and if the cosmic stuff is supposed to be a bigger part of Marvel going forward, that's kind of his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And again, it takes a special person to make that shit entertaining and not ridiculous. And I think he's definitely the right person for that job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, I wish, you know, maybe I wish he could have helped with Captain Marvel just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, James Gunn's back. He's directing Suicide Squad. I can't believe that. I can't see. That's what makes it even more shocking. It's not that they just brought him back. They brought him back knowing that he's doing a movie for DC.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show you the only real rivalry is between fans and not like the actual companies.
Right.
Today we are talking Fatale. Fatale is a supernatural noir comic written by Ed Brubaker, drawn by Sean Phillips, with coloring by David Stewart. It ran from January 2012 to July 2014 with a total of 24 issues. It was nominated for several Eisners, winning one for Stewart for Best Coloring. Gun Sets, Secret Coats and Monsters. A reporter in 2012 stumbles on a secret that leads him down the darkest path imaginable to a seductive woman who's been on the run since 1935. A mobster who may be an immortal demon monster, and the stories of all the doomed men who've been caught in their decade-long struggle. Fatale blends noir and horror to tell a riveting epic unlike anything you've ever seen before.
All right. Well, was it a riveting epic? Was it like anything you've ever seen before?
I mean, it's like a lot of things I've seen before, but it was a really good version of it. I will say that.
Yeah.
I like this comic a lot, and comparing this to Sandman is a real quick read. Like anything compared to Sandman is a real quick read. I should really stop saying that. But Amanda, what did you think of Fatale? Let's start off with you.
Okay, so this series was very popular. Like the time period this was coming out was when I was working at a comic book store, and I saw how popular this was, and also I know that Brubaker did a good Captain America run.
Legendary.
Yeah. So I knew that I wanted to read something by this author, but I'm not normally into noir or like crime stuff. There's something about glamorizing like plausible violence that bothers me. Like science fiction stuff is much more palatable, but like I don't know, it's almost like I think it's boring, and it bothers me that I think that crime is boring when it's just like normal people.
Space smugglers you can believe in though, right?
There's something, I don't know, there's just something about realistic violence that bothers me. Like all of the crime procedurals on TV, I'm always like, I can't, like not only can I not get invested, but like it bothers me. So anyways, I usually don't like this genre at all. And the fact that I absolutely love this story, like I was really shocked. Like I thought I was going to read it and come in with a lot of comments about like, oh, well, like it's masterfully done and whatever. And I see how like people loved it, but just, like I didn't care. But I was really intrigued by the mystery, and I was fine with it being sort of a detective story and like a crime story. And it was like a period story, but not like gratuitously or indulgently so. Like it wasn't about nostalgia necessarily. So I don't know. So yeah, I really enjoyed it despite myself is what I'm trying to say.
I, on the other hand, I don't know if I love noir, but some of my favorite movies are like noir stories, like L.A. Confidential,
Mm-hmm.
Chinatown, the Bogart movies. But like, I would never say like I'm just a super fan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny now that I've read this, how much a lot of these tropes kind of like echo through all these stories.
Yeah.
There's like there's always a detective or a cop, and they usually get like messed up in the story at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And like he does that here, but kind of split those roles into two. Like is a cop noir and a detective noir at the same time.
Yeah.
And like at some point it goes like real Pulp Fiction-y where we juggling like three timelines at once.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall I really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to buy the rest of the books and finish reading it.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking is I was hoping that there was sort of like a stopping point halfway through, but there definitely isn't. He definitely knew that he was going to get 24 full issues and was, plotting it out for that pace.
Well, apparently it was only supposed to be 12.
Right.
And like at some point it was you say there's no ending. I do feel like I don't know if it's an ending. I don't know if it's necessarily an ending, but I feel like there's like a chapter break. Like there's like a ending of book one type feel to it in my opinion.
Okay.
Isn't the last page we says how about you just give me your keys? It feels like a new part of the story is about to open up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. But no, I get you. It's definitely way too many dangling plot threads for it to feel like an actual ending.
Well, it would be, it might even be, I might be fine if we don't get all of the story. Like I would be fine if certain aspects of the mystery were never solved.
Right.
But I feel like at least one character needs to have like an ending for it to feel satisfying. And right now I don't feel like after the first half, I don't really feel like I got that yet. Which is maybe also deceiving me a little bit. Like maybe I feel like just because I want to see how it ends doesn't mean that it's good. It just means that like I'm stuck in the middle of a mystery right now.
But it's a really good mystery though.
It is. So do you wanna talk about characters a little bit or?
I would like to talk about obsession and the
Okay.
obsession with women. Yeah, I understood that. I understood that deeply to my core. Maybe not to this extent that these men was under, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I've been there. Like when I was reading this, and it reminds me just how much of a boy of a just how masculine noir stories are.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're really not for. Not that they're not for women, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like they're very.
It's perhaps easy to understand why women wouldn't be
Yes.
as enamored with the genre in general.
And men would, right? Because I think every man has had a woman that they've been obsessed over and they want to make wild, passionate love to.
Well, and I mean, I think maybe that's like the genius of how this is set up is that, I mean, I would almost describe this as like I would almost describe the premise as being assume that there was actually only ever one femme fatale
Right.
in every noir story. And she is the Sandman of noir stories.
Right.
She's the trigger for all of them. She was there for all of them. She's like the only woman that was ever like obsessed over in these stories, and it's because she's magic, whatever. But I feel like by taking essentially the only female character who gets to do anything in these stories and making her more important and giving her some degree of agency and making her the mystery and not just like the MacGuffin, makes this way, way more palatable to a woman who's reading it, is because it doesn't ignore those genre tropes. It just says, like, let's add like a layer here and make her a character also, and make her like the coolest character because there aren't really going to be other women.
And she's very flawed in a real way. And also, it actually plays to a woman's strength. Like, men who are players are all about getting a woman into bed, right? Women who are players are all about getting men to do stuff for them. And she has that shit in spades. And it's just like, it seems like somebody who's writing this kind of understand those type of gender roles. You know what I'm saying? Where like a man is all about his penis, while a woman is kind of about what you can do for her. Not necessarily in a bad way, but men get really ensnared because all they do is think with their penis. And like, I think this story does that, like, illustrate this perfectly. You know what I'm saying? It's just
but also in a way that doesn't make like the men come off as all stupid.
Yeah. Well, yes, yay and nay. Look,
but like what I'm saying is, this isn't a book that's going to get like Twitter riled up about like, oh, this is a book that shows that men are weak, right? Like it doesn't show that men are weak and stupid. It shows that men have a weakness that makes them stupid sometimes.
Yes. And I love the idea that she can't stop her damn self. Like you know, it's like a two-way street. Like, yes, men can't stop falling in love with her, but also she can't stop falling in love with men. And she knows it's going to turn out bad, but she can't help herself. Basically what I'm saying is, I'm in love with Josephine, and I completely understand. She's my favorite character. I also love the fact that you think this is the dude's story, then by the end of these 2 issues, it becomes her story. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like by the end, like, oh, this is no longer about the male in this story. You know, it's not about Hank or what's the guy in 2012 name? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, all those white guys look the same to me. I have no idea.
They kind of do, right? They kind of do.
That is, and I mean, I feel like I'm saying that, and I feel like part of that is, well, from Josephine's point of view, once you hit, you're like 100-something years old, and you've been with like, several dozen men, maybe hundreds of men, I'm sure they do all look the same at some point. She's like, is it this guy, or is it his dad, or is it like the other guy? But I would say that is also one of my complaints about crime drama stories, is that it's an awful lot of like cops and lawyers and like mobster looking dudes, and they're just kind of like all seem the same to me.
Right.
And so I feel like that's just kind of how these stories go. I don't know if it would necessarily be like a weakness of characterization that we can't really remember their names or tell them apart.
And right now I'm looking through the comic and I'm trying to find his name, and I just can't. It says Mr. Lash. I know that's like probably his last name. I don't.
Oh, it was Nick Lash.
Nick, that's right, Nick Lash. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a very Quam Noir name, by the way. Like, Nick came across her, and he even kissed her, and he's already obsessed.
It also, her attitude and the way things happen reminds me a little bit of this concept of like friend zoning, where like, you know, she's sitting there and some guy starts talking to her, and then after about 30 seconds she's like, oh no, and she's like, I didn't even do anything, did I? She's like, not again.
It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much for a guy.
So I think there's like one more huge aspect of this story that we need to bring up.
Oh, and what's that, Amanda?
Like the Cthulhu crap.
What?
Like like on top of all of this, like, I don't know, like she's maybe like actually a monster, or like
Monster adjacent, at
monster
least.
adjacent, or like
A fairy
like
of some sort, like a harpy.
I don't, or like from all the bits we've read, I've been trying to piece together in my head what I think happened to her, and I feel like it was some sort of like this cult tried to like sacrifice her or like used her in some ceremony, and like it went wrong or something, or like one of
or
the
really
gods,
right.
or like one of the gods like possessed her, and now this cult is after her to get her back. Like I don't know if they want to like finish sacrificing her, or if they want to like worship her, or if they think that like if they have sex with her, it will be like having sex with their gods or something. Like
Oh
I don't
God!
really.
You know what? That last one, that never crossed my mind.
Oh, because they say things like that she's been closer to their gods than they have, and like that like they can get closer. Like that's just kind of what I assumed, was they were like, well, this is like the god, like our, you know, we had a ritual and we summoned the gods and they fucked her, and now if we, you know, get with her, it'll be like, you know, sloppy seconds or something. Like I don't really know how men think about these things, so I'm just like kind of brainstorming all over the place.
All I know is you have used just some vulgar language in the last 30 seconds. I just want Jesus. Sloppy seconds, really? No.
Well,
No.
Sloppy 200ths? I don't know.
You're not making this any better.
No, it's interesting that through all of this, there is absolutely no slut shaming.
No, there's not. There's not.
Like she gets, it's very like original Star Trek, where it's like no matter how many alien chicks Kirk got with, you always believed he loved all of them, and you never felt like he was exploiting them. It's like the same way. Like you don't feel like she's doing anything wrong. You don't really feel like she's exploiting people.
Right, and she seems like she loves every single man that she sleeps with.
Yeah.
Except for the gardener, he's just all in his truck staring at the window. Man, to me, that's the most tragic hero in the whole story right there. Because that must be terrible. Like to be there in love, but not attractive enough to actually for her to even think about it. That must be terrible. That must be hard. Okay, sorry. So, yes, there seems to be Cthulhu monsters. Not the devil, not Satan, but straight up Cthulhu monsters in this story. Also, believe it or not, that's actually another bit trope in noir stories. There's a lot of noir stories that end with like strange cults and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like having a girl chained up in the basement, that's usually like another.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Brubaker is a master at this type of story, and it's like he throws all those tropes into this one story, into these first 10 issues. To the point is, I wonder what he's gonna do for the rest of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so I think we just sort of barely brought up the art because I was joking that we couldn't tell all of the men apart. But
The art is gorgeous, in my opinion.
yeah. No, the art is great. I did want to say I also really loved like Joe's clothing.
Okay.
We get like a lot of like I feel like we get a lot of her personality from seeing like what she chooses to wear.
Right.
Which a lot of it is just sort of like kind of timeless and classy, but also like definitely modest. Like I was expecting there to be more like pinups, essentially.
I mean, she does look like Betty Page, but yes, besides that,
Mm.
you're right that it is kind of, modest for.
Well, and I wonder if she's like that's her like trying to control her powers or
Well,
whatever.
well, look, if all it took was for the gardener to see her naked for him to like wait out her
Mm-hmm.
window every damn night, I can imagine what just some cleavage would do to her, do
Mm-hmm.
to a guy, like.
Yeah.
But no, I will say this: it's sexy without being overt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually I don't go for that, but in this case, it works. It works in this case.
Well, it goes with the whole trying to okay, this is a maybe like one more good topic to discuss. Is like how much agency do we think Joe really has? Like how much does it really seem like she's in control and making decisions? Because she does an awful lot of like just running away from things.
Right.
And sort of like being bounced from like man to man. And it was just kind of interesting. It was like how much of like an active character did she really become, and how much is she still just like the shiny object that we have to solve the mystery about?
Like what, she couldn't even have like a was a polyamorous relationship because I think the dudes would just kill each other.
I said what I said. She's a serial monogamist.
No, I think that's the point of the story is that she kind of is bouncing from guy to guy, waiting for the guy to save her. But by the end, she comes into her own and uses her power fully.
Yeah.
So I think that's the point that now she's gonna go after the people that's been after her.
Right.
And for her to do that, she has to take control of herself and not hope that a man will save her. Even though they do a pretty good job, but it always seemed like to be a temporary band-aid.
Yeah.
So now it seems like she's going after people. And for her to do that, she got to use her powers fully.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe a little more speculation about how this might end. Do we think there are other women or people with this power? Or do you think she's the only one?
There has to be a dude, right? There has to be I feel like there has to be like a male counterpart to this, right?
Okay.
That I don't know. That's all I can think of. Like there has to be like a male counterpart, but maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like the idea of this idea of a man being obsessed over a woman doesn't quite work both ways. I mean, I know it does sometimes, but it always it's a very primal thing. But I feel like maybe there might be a male version of this.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you think this might work on women? Do you think she can work on women the way she work on men?
You know, that is actually something I thought when I was reading was I am surprised that wasn't included at all. I feel like if she's truly a femme fatale with this magical power, I feel like she should be able to do it to women. And instead what we have is one example with the storyline that was in like the 70s where she does help a woman and the woman's in her house and like she doesn't even talk to her. And the girl's like, she's really weird. Like, why doesn't anyone else see that Joe's really weird and like creepy? So I don't know. I feel like if I was writing this story, I'd be like, yeah, of course her powers work on women, but I feel like it may be an element of the story that like only men are fooled and like women can see what she really is. Well, I mean, I feel, and maybe this is something that'll get explored in the second half more, is like you were saying, like the gardener, obviously she was like not down with that. Maybe it's like her, like maybe she is actually more in control of her powers than she thinks.
Oh, like I said, maybe it
And
just...
that, and so maybe like maybe if she was into women, it would work on women too. But
Right.
because she like mentally has that blocked, she's like never even tried to use her powers on a woman.
Right. But again, it seemed like her power just oozes out her pores, and no matter what man she comes in contact with, it
Right.
just seems to happen.
Right. So it would have to be like like a deep down Freudian psychoanalysis type block if it were something she could change.
You know what? This might be the most sexual episode of this podcast, and it's not even our fault. It's just this story.
Well, and it's interesting because, like, there was actually a sex scene in Promethea,
Right.
which was, like, explicit,
Right.
but, like, horrible, in my opinion, whatever. But this is, like, sustained through the entire story, and there's, like, way more there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like investing, like, really integrating it into the story and, like, investing the time in the ideas helps it.
Right. Right. So, should we talk about where a good chunk of this story takes place is like in the 70s?
Well, we get like the present day funeral.
Right.
And then we get the original detective story from probably like the 50s.
It seems that way, yeah, the 50s.
Or the 40s maybe.
40s,
And we
40s,
get a little bit of flashbacks to like we see like photos and stuff from the 30s. And then we have the story where she's like dating the actor in Hollywood in like the 70s.
Poor bastard.
Yeah. I love how she was like got herself okay with the idea by telling herself that he didn't even have a life to go back to. Like she wasn't even taking him away from anything.
Right, so she can just do this.
Yeah, like she's like, oh, well, like at least now he has something to live for. Like I don't even feel that bad.
She was kind of right.
Yeah. So what about the setting of the 70s? Did you like was that surprising to you somehow, or?
No, I just think, well, no, because I just think like a big chunk of the story, like something very important happens there. That's when she gets this mysterious book back, and this is what she like learns to. This is what she learns to embrace her powers. Also, I think the actor guy was very interesting. Like out of all the males in this story, and there's a lot of dudes in this story, I find him to be the most interesting.
Okay.
Because I find him to be the most flawed, and it seems like he was. It seems like meeting her actually made him a better person. Like all the other dudes seemed like they was pretty cool, good dudes, and actually meeting her made them worse.
Right.
With him, it seems like he cared about something all of a sudden, as opposed to the other dudes. Basically, he had an arc.
Yeah.
As opposed to the other dudes in this story so far. And he also says something that's real deep. When she tells him everything, he looks at her and he's just like, so it's all fake? And it immediately goes to the other scene, and I thought that was real deep. Because I get exactly what he's saying. He's like, oh, so this is not real. How I'm feeling about you is not a real thing, per se.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I thought that was very cutting. Like, oh, it's all fake. Like, it's not real. Like, I don't actually love her. She has me under some type of spell that I can't get from under.
Right.
Right. So, like, I just find that interesting. Like, and like with his friend that was murdered, it just seems like he became a better person through the story.
No, I really like that observation because you're right. Like the other, she was, I guess, kind of, she wasn't married to that guy, but like her first boyfriend who seemed to actually like I feel like maybe he was the one who saved her from the cult originally.
Yeah.
But he had a wife. Right? Like he was just like sneaking over to her place.
No. That was
No. They both had wives.
Really?
There was the corrupt cop, yeah, because she had a separate apartment from him.
Oh.
And she said that he went back to his wife, so they weren't married, even.
Oh, I completely missed that. Wow.
Yeah. But then like Nick's grandfather, he was also married and had a baby on the way and was like willing to give all of that up immediately.
And at first, and it's weird too, because first he just seems like a scumbag. Then what you realize what happened to him, he immediately becomes more sympathetic. Like, he really doesn't have a choice in this. It's not that he doesn't love his wife or his unborn child. He literally can't help himself.
Yeah. Well, and it also explains why he went crazy later, right?
Right, exactly. No, he doesn't go crazy. Nick's father goes crazy, which I'm assuming is probably for the same reason.
Yeah.
See, it's very hard to keep this straight because it bounces from like 3 different timelines.
And they all look the same.
And they all look the same.
And they all do the same thing in the story, except for the one guy.
And it's funny too. She knew she knew he was married with a child on the way, and she still did it. Right? Like, I don't know what that says about her as a person. Like, and I wonder, like, is it something that she can't help either?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that's what I'm so interested to learn more about is like how much, like what does it take from her to do this? Like her learning to control this or to use it. Because I feel like that says so much just about like how relationships work in general. Because it does take both people. In this case, it takes both people too. I want to understand more the degree.
No, I mean, maybe we just should read all of this. It was on 24 issues.
If we had 2 weeks in between, I probably would have.
Be quiet. You're ruining the magic. What are you talking about? It is 2 weeks later, Amanda. What?
Well, if we had read them earlier, maybe we would have, decided to do that. I feel
like we may have to do a follow-up episode. You know how much I love my bonus episodes.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm glad that you do want to keep reading it. That means we picked a good one.
Yes, we did. You did. You picked a good one.
I picked a good one finally.
Amanda, all your choices are good.
Even Chaos?
Sure. You also picked Promethea. Remember that now.
I did.
At least that art was nice.
Yeah, that's great art.
Yeah.
I think this is all we can say without finishing the book.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're just kind of going around in circles. I think that's it, Amanda. I think we've covered everything that we need to cover. Amanda, would you recommend this book?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
2 weeks from now, True Believers, the movie Shazam is coming out. And in our quest for corporate synergy, we are reading a Shazam book. Now, me and Amanda had some discussion about this. Now, it would make sense to read the Jeff Johns run of the New 52 since this version of Shazam / Captain Marvel seems to take heavy influence from that, kind of like how we did with Throne of Atlantis in the Aquaman movie. But I kind of want to read something fun. Something big, bright, and colorful. So we decided, instead of reading the Jeff Johns run, which the movie is based on, we are reading a more classical take on Captain Marvel. We are reading Shazam, The Monster Society of Evil, written and drawn by Bone creator Jeff Smith.
Sounds great. I'm really excited, actually.
And
I love this character on the Justice League cartoon, so I'm excited to read some.
And it's this thing where, like, there's not a lot of Captain Marvel comics. And when I was looking for something to read for Captain Marvel or Shazam or whatever the hell you want to call them, all of it looks good too. All of it looks good and interesting. It seems like one of those characters where it draws great creators, but for whatever reason it can't sustain a book to save its life. So, but every time they try to bring this character out, they do it with like a really good creator. So, like, there's not a lot of modern day Shazam comics, but the ones that there are seems to be all high quality. So I might just read all of this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I won't. So I got a life.
I have. Excuse me. I don't have. You know what?
Yeah. What?
I don't know. I'm just insulted. You trying to say I don't have a life? Is that what you're trying to say?
No. I won't.
You know I have a kid, right? You know I have a whole 10-year-old kid.
I know you have a whole life separate from comic books.
Jeez, Amanda. Anyway, Amanda, if people have thoughts, questions, or concerns, where can they reach us?
Well, we are on Twitter as Comic Book Club 52. And you can email us, comicbookclub52@gmail.com. And we are also on Facebook as The Comic Book Club, probably one of many. I'm sure they're all great, but we're the best.
Goddamn right. So, that would end this week's episode. I am Jamill Payne.
I'm Amanda Comey.
And we are out.